Meeting to order. I will do the invocation since I failed to ask anybody else to do it. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve all your people in Sumner County. We ask that you help us make good decisions tonight, that we have very productive conversation and debate, and that we will get this done as quickly as humanly possible. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I don't have any amendments to the agenda. If I could get somebody to make a motion to approve it. Commissioner Miller and then Commissioner Holmes the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes from February 5th. I have no corrections to them. Anybody else?
Motion?
Motions from Commissioner Schmidt, second. Commissioner Terry Moss, Commissioner Terry Moss. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Report from the chairman, I have none. Mr. Mayor?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
Recognition of the public? There is no public. So we'll move on from there.
Kevin Bayer signed up. I don't know where he went.
I shut the door on them, they may be out there.
Okay, maybe grab them and see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Old business. Item A, progress on the roof and parapets of archive building, awaiting specifications from Jacob Cherry. I did talk to Ms. Norfleet this afternoon. She said, I know that they've had problems with Jacob Cherry. He's had some family issues, pretty serious ones from the sounds of it. And so they've been scattering to try to finish the specifications on that building. So we'll keep it on old business for next month. Oh.
Can I still get in? It's not that important.
We passed it by.
How important is it?
Don't worry about
Okay, go.
it. Let's get out of here.
Progress on the roof of Sumner County Jail. I know that we have specifications back. Mr. Sittler, did you go through them? I thought I saw an email today.
Yes,
So.
yes, they were trying to get, I believe, notice posted today, so I got done with that about 1:30.
Okay, so they've been accepted by the mayor's office and your office.
I forwarded them to Ms. Norfleet. I believe the mayor was involved.
So they will go to bid, and that's a 2-week bid, Mr.
I will
Mayor?
defer to Mr. Norfleet.
We're hoping to advertise it on Thursday, March 8th, and get it to budget for April, so that we can make some decisions on
Oh, so we're not going to bid yet because it was over budget.
it. Right.
So we need to go back to budget with it. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so that's the status of the jail roof.
So if it's in budget, do you want to drop it, or?
Yeah, I guess we could drop it. We've done our part on that. Thank you, Mr. Silver. Update on new courthouse parking structure. I would say it's at the same point. All is moving well with the construction from what I've seen. We still have not totally resolved the issue on the storm drain. I'm working with Mr. Lawing on that as time allows him. Let's leave that on old business. If nobody has, Commissioner Johnson.
I just had a question. Is the timeline on the parking structure and the courthouse itself, are they coming together? Are they still staying separate?
They are separate, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Our one item on new business could affect the opening of the parking structure. The proposal that we got from SSOE through our architect of record, I think Mr. Sittler has some issues with I don't think we've resolved the issue, your item 2 on your email yet.
Do you want to talk about it then?
Well,
Just
we'll-
wait,
we'll-
because I can wait.
We can wait on that.
I just know that whereas like a 3 or 6 month gap between the two openings, I wanted to see if they were getting closer together or staying separate.
Well, to answer in short order, Mr. Mayor, I believe we're still planning on a June opening for the courthouse?
Yeah, the courthouse is still on target. It's the parking garage that we've hit a significant
Yeah.
snag.
Yeah, one of the snags is the city has to move the water line,
Right.
and that's going to take, according to David Kellogg, we're 3 months down the road on that. If I'm remembering it right. Go ahead. Mr.
Well,
Mayor.
I don't mean to interrupt, Mr. Chairman, but we would like to see item D moved on to budget if at all possible, and at least iron out any questions we have with the funding to keep it from another month of delay on our part.
Well-
And that's just a stormwater issue. We'll talk about this electrical here in a minute.
Yeah, well, like with the stormwater, I thought we approved not to exceed 600,000.
Yeah, it's still on here, so it hasn't. It's pending your approval before it can go to budget. That's
Okay.
my understanding.
Oh, okay.
My question was simple, just about the dates, but if we're gonna talk about more stuff later on, I can wait till
Yeah.
later on when we get to it.
Well, the mayor's right, the courthouse is still for June. The parking structure is a big question mark at this point.
Things we have to discuss tonight
Yes.
to get that to come into focus.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Miller.
I'm looking at the minutes, and it says, County Mayor Isabel stated he would like to see the project moved on to Budget Committee. After discussion, Commissioner Harrison moved, seconded by Commissioner Moss, to approve up to 600,000 for total county responsibility on the storm drain project and forward to Budget Committee. The motion carried unanimously.
Right.
Right, I remember that.
So
Okay.
we did move it on.
Thank you.
And so it will be, the money will be allotted for, we're still going to try to do it for less money, because that's why it was a not to exceed
Up to,
600,000.
right.
So can we
Commissioner.
remove that from old business?
Yeah, we can remove that from old
Thank you.
business. Thank you. Okay, where were we?
C.
Yeah, that was C. Okay, and Franklin Street Stormwater
We
Project.
just removed it.
We just removed it. E, administrative building, third floor dormers and freezing fire sprinkler concerns. Mr. Mayor, you were gonna meet with the contractor.
We're still waiting on the numbers. Might have them tomorrow. I'll be happy to email them out.
That would be-
But yeah, we did have a contract go through it.
Did he feel like there needed to be work done? I'm just curious at this point.
That wasn't an opinion that we asked.
Okay,
Yeah, we just asked him to put a number together.
okay. All right, so we'll keep that on as old business.
Mr. Chairman, just
Sir.
that process there would just be hearing the number and then we vote to do it or not do it, or what's the
Well,
process?
I think we have to postpone it 1 month. He's gonna get numbers, hopefully
Right.
tomorrow. He'll email.
That's what I'm
them.
saying. After he gets them, we will decide
To
yes or
forward it
no on
on
it next
to-
month.
To
Okay.
budget. I'm assuming that this is the next process that needs to take place. Status of the new Sumner County Courthouse, update on results of building pressure testing by SSOE. This is what I started to talk to Mr. Sittler about. Mr. Sittler, if I'm understanding your email, you have an issue with item 2 that was in your email regarding, it's not a hold harmless, it was,
I'm sorry, I've read a couple of things since then, I'm trying to remember. Was it indemnity clause possibly?
yes, it was. It was an indemnity clause.
Did they adjust that? Send you a new one, Mr. Sidler?
I don't normally get them, usually Miss Norfleet takes care of that.
Okay, well, I guess, the long and short of it is we can put it on old business.
It was a mutual release, I'm sorry, here's the
That's what it
email
was,
here.
a mutual release.
Oh, this was the letter, right?
Right.
Yeah, they basically, here's what they wanted to do, my interpretation was, they wanted to say, okay, we'll come in, we'll pay this up to what we think we owe, and this is now a mutual release, and we owe you nothing ever.
And you had a problem with
I
that,
had no
rightly so.
problem with that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it came out though, and then
Yeah.
I've approved it since then because they satisfied that, they took that whole paragraph out and the rest was okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I think it's moving on.
Yeah, we're moving forward.
Okay, okay. So is there any reason for us to keep it on old business then? No? Okay, we can remove that. Health Department surplus property, as you all know, in the commission meeting last Monday, we approved the project. I did call IT, since Robert was going to head into it, and he was gone today, and the guy he was gonna put on it is on his honeymoon. So they're all supposed to be back on Wednesday. I can email us all if you'd like to know, but basically what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get going on it and figure out some of the details, like how long do we keep items on the list? How do we alert all the other departments, get them to contribute their overages or their surpluses, and be able to start using the things. So I will work with Robert when he gets back. I think he's back on Wednesday as well, and we'll figure out some of the details, and I'll bring them back to this body.
So as suggestions?
As suggestions, and then we can finalize the process. But in the meantime, I believe he's going to put on the health department information and the sheriff department information. Start there, and we'll start getting the list distributed. Sir?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I talked to Mr. Tuttle a little bit about this because I had those two items that we were ready to move on to that system, and I think one of the things that has yet to be discussed in all of this is the stuff that ages on this system. We're gonna have to figure out some way to dump it and finally get rid of it. Because things will age out on this database.
Right.
And when it ages out, we're gonna have to come up with some sort of mechanism to lump this stuff together, do a traditional e-gov or whatever it is that
That's
they
what
do to get
that's what
rid of
he
this
just
stuff.
Gov deals.
But that's the one aspect that Mr. Tuttle, I don't think has been brought
Yeah,
into the loop on.
he hasn't, because we had to
Okay.
run it through the commission first and approve it, which we've done now. So we're gonna work on the
Okay.
aging out details and some of that other stuff.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
So-
if he doesn't know that per Mr. Sittler, basically you're just gonna make a suggestion to him about that.
Yeah.
So why don't we just discuss that?
Well,
on what
we absolutely can.
Just to kind of be done with that and let it keep rolling.
Yeah, well, I would entertain a motion to discuss then.
Motion to discuss.
Second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Holmes. Okay, well,
Got a vote?
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Different things are gonna have different timelines.
I know.
For dumping them.
I know.
And he may have some suggestions on electronic devices or computer related things on how long to keep stuff like that. But what is the standard for what we've done in the past for furniture and things like that?
Well, typically,
I don't have a lot to input here to say because I don't know, but
right,
rather than you two talk about it, there was more people here that maybe we
well,
could figure that
when
out.
it comes to Hal Hendricks, when his basement got too crowded, he put a list together.
Right, but now we got a virtual list, and so we're gonna have to make it.
Right, right. And so that's one of those things that, you know, we could make the department head put a date on it. For instance, Robert Tuttle felt like almost everything on the sheriff's list, we should just get rid of it because it's mostly computer stuff and it's obsolete for what he thought anything we would use in the county, but we chose at our last meeting to go ahead and keep it on. And so, and that's fine, because a lot of the description of that equipment was not very discreet. And so,
Well, I like the idea of the department head's probably gonna know the value or how long they're gonna wanna hold on to it before somebody else claims it or doesn't claim it. So I like that idea of just
Yeah.
leaving it up to the department head to put a date in that system to travel along with the item that they put up for viewing.
and that's a fair way to do it, because that would effectively be the way it's been.
Because they're gonna
today.
store it in the meantime, right?
Right, they have to store it in the meantime. I mean, Hal's got a bunch of tables and chairs over there that could be used by somebody, but maybe nobody has a need for them, and so, you know, we could put them out there. He could make a decision, well, let's put them out there for 6 months, and if nobody bites, you know, we'll get rid of them.
By asking them or requiring them to put an expiration date, if you will, on the offer, then that may help them all not clutter up their basements either.
Right.
So
Right, and.
make it a requirement that if they go to the system, they have to have a date attached to them or something.
Yeah, and you know, if you were to run over to the Gallatin Health Department, he's got a big basement. He does pretty much nothing else with it, so, and it's not, doesn't look like my garage, that's for sure. So, I mean, it looks like it's very open and stuff, and it's not very consolidated, but, you know, he'd like to get rid of it, and you know, I understand that. So I think that's a perfectly good suggestion to
Well,
make.
that was probably gonna be your suggestion, but do we need to make that in the form of a motion and just send it on to you to do it?
If you guys feel strongly that the department heads should select the date,
Who
It
else?
should just be a suggestion,
okay.
but that's just my.
What I can do is I can work on any suggestions that we have here. I'll call some of the department heads, get their opinions on it, and then get back a list of criteria on the, you know, what the termination date would be for product and anything else that we would have ideas on. So I'm open to ideas.
Well, that's not gonna prevent them from going ahead and using the system, is it?
No,
Okay.
it's not gonna prevent it. We'll just put a termination date for everything out there. You know, if it's, you know, starts May 1st and it, you know, he decides that November 1st is the time to get rid of it, then that's when we get rid of it, and then we'll put it on Gov Deals or whatever.
Well, I'm fine with whatever Commissioner Miller said too. If it's a suggestion, just whatever the department heads.
Okay, so we won't take a vote on it. Well, does anybody else have any suggestions on what I could talk to Robert Tuttle about it? Okay, all right. And the same with item H is the surplus property there. That's why I had Stephen put them together. Okay, creating a list of all capital improvement projects currently in progress or budgeted for the future. This was something we asked of the mayor's office so that we just knew what was coming up, because we don't always know what's on the agenda to be built. For an example, I did not know that we were looking for an EMS place in Westmoreland. I have talked to Commissioner Miller about it. I don't remember that ever coming up. The EMS facility that I remember coming up was the one on Airport Road that was gonna be in combination with the maintenance guys. And there was another one that I was never sure quite where it was. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be at New Shackle or the one there next to Merrill Hyde School. So just for clarification, if, Mr. Mayor, if you could go ahead and start a list that would tell us anticipated dates of starting. You know, I'm not even sure what has been allocated for.
Okay. Yeah, I can get that for you.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great.
Mr. Chairman, one thing I guess 2 commissions ago is they made a motion from general ops and to have the county mayor as a standing ongoing list that was in the general ops packet every month, and I could go back and look at those and see. That was just the capital project improvements and what's been spent, what hasn't been spent, like where projects were. And a lot of those have been in budget packets, this new commission still, but it was carried through the last, for at least 5 years, from probably 17 to 22. And so, I mean.
So that was something that General Ops received
From the county mayor was the monthly report of the capital project improvements list and all the money that was allocated to what and where, whether it was, whatever was being worked on. So I would probably recommend you make a motion for that, just as a committee vote on that and make it
I'll make
official.
that motion.
motion.
I'll second
Commissioner
that.
Miller. Second, Commissioner Jones.
When was that provided, so I can go back and see that form?
It was something, just to go look, it was like from 17 to 22 at least, for 5 years. And it was just they'd asked the General Operations Committee, had asked Mayor Holt to provide that as a list, just like an ongoing list. So you can get a better idea of what has been before. It might be a little bit different than this, but that gives you an idea. So it didn't really change month to month. I mean, it was kind of a high level.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, none of us except you would know that ever existed.
Mr. Chairman, so I think it was my first meeting on general operations where the mayor gave us a list of budgeted projects, and we nixed a lot of them because they were like suggested things like changing out air conditioner units that were aged and things like that. Is that the same type of list we're talking about, or is this a different list?
This would be a different list. I mean, probably some of those things, and we just got one of those from Mayor Isbell, at least maybe last month or the month before, and it had some diamond points. I don't have it in my package here.
Yeah,
but
here is the current one.
I guess I just want to understand the difference of what we had before versus what we're asking for now.
Well, yeah, a lot of those were maintenance items, I believe.
Yes.
And
This is
we're talking
capital
about capital improvement.
There were a combination, what I submitted the last time
Capital
was a combination of capital projects and the ARPA projects. So,
Okay.
and both of those y'all voted on in the budget.
I read that wrong. The capital improvement, I looked at as
Okay.
maintenance. I thought it was capital and capital improvement, so, sorry.
So are we all square on what we're needing here?
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
No.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. We already talked about the county surplus data project that was kind of tied in with, yes,
You have health department surplus property, you have
Sheriff's
sheriff's
Department.
department surplus property.
Right.
And then the database, could we combine those maybe?
yeah, I had asked Stephen to kind of combine those, and I don't know that he.
So G, H, and J you want combined as
Yeah.
old business?
Well, hold on. GH are already gone. We gave the approval for them to do it, right? They're gonna put those on the list.
Yeah, actually, we could
Those can
probably
be
get
gone.
rid of all of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just bring them.
The status of the surplus database is what you're gonna bring suggestions for what
Right.
you and
Right,
Robert talked about.
and I'll put those on new.
So really, we just have one item now.
Yeah, but let's get rid of all three of them off of old business, and I'll just make a new item.
Okay.
For new business next time.
Okay.
Okay, discussion, item K, discussion of creating standard operating procedures for the General Operations Committee to monitor progress of design, development, contracting, and construction of any and all projects currently being built and or planned for the future. So, for example, if we knew we were gonna pull the trigger on the Brown Park, that the mayor would provide us, and I believe at the last meeting, we talked about Gantt charts. The mayor also suggested PowerPoints. And so we kind of left it up for him to provide us with what he thought would be the most appropriate. And then as time would go on, we would amend it so that we clearly understood the progress of anything that was being developed or built. Obviously, the courthouse is all but done, and so is the parking structure, but we will continue to have things going, Commissioner.
Yeah, so like the parking structure would be a good example of this. We've got the estimate to complete dates. I'm envisioning what you're asking for. And then we hit the stumbling block of the water drainage, the moving of the water supply line in order to fix all that issue. These things can be explained and seen along the way for this. Until this job's done, I don't think it's too late for those types of things, because we're going to discuss it tonight, but it could easily be put into a chart. And I don't know when the original completion date of the parking garage was supposed to be done. Was it June of this year?
Well,
it was like 6 months behind the courthouse, right? I think it was June, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's only because there were delays by AT&T. So,
I'm saying, but when we took commission, we took over in a year and a half ago.
yeah,
That's when it was projected out
Right.
to.
right.
So seeing that further out projection and making that known to the whole commission and having something to put out that is printed or able to digitally transfer to people is way more valuable than a discussion
It is.
that we have to go tell our fellow commissioners about why things are delayed. So I think it is important to try to implement it as soon as possible. By the time we get it implemented, it may be too late on this project or that project, but it is something worth aiming at.
Okay.
If the mayor has something ready for us tonight, I would like to just, I don't know how hard it'd be to implement into current projects, but I would like to look at it.
I mean, you could.
They've got it. I know they've got it on their end.
They've got it on there.
They're meeting a construction trailer or in an office somewhere every Monday morning or whatever, and they're going over this. So it's not that hard
Okay,
for us to see it.
that's true. That's true. Do you have a comment, Mr. Mayor? No? Do you have a motion, Mr. Jones?
No, I was want to see where you're going with this. It's an item on the agenda. Is this a request, or is this a status report from the mayor because we asked him to do it last month, or where are you taking this item?
Well, I would like to implement it.
Well, we did that last month and we
Right.
voted on it.
Right,
And,
right.
and it was a
And I don't-
positive recommendation and request, so
The meeting minutes that referred to this said,
I know he was gonna try something with a PowerPoint,
PowerPoint, yeah.
or have his idea of what would satisfy our request, and we were gonna see that tonight and see if that was worth staying with his idea, if we could tweak it to something else that we wanted to do. So, that's what I remember.
that's what the minutes say as well. Do you have a
Yeah,
PowerPoint?
I didn't get to it.
Didn't get to it.
No, I got busy.
Okay, well then, moving forward, is that some,
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it. Yep.
okay, so we'll keep it on the agenda for next
You're welcome
month. Okay, all right. Okay, item L, did we remove the tree in Cottontown?
He was supposed to get it done last week. He's promised me this week. So if I don't get it done this week, I'll move on to the next bid.
Okay, all right, so keep that on old business, Mr. Sittler. Okay, item M, discuss and repair and or replacement of existing audio-visual system in the main chambers, and we had decided to find out, or I was going to find out what was happening with the amplifier, if I'm not mistaken,
You were gonna request
and I dropped the ball.
the status on
Yeah.
where that back-ordered amplifier was.
Yeah, and for all I know, it's there. But I don't know, I was gonna actually look at it today. And I didn't.
Well, they are where?
In place.
They would have had to come and install it without us knowing about it.
Well, but that would have been very possible because all they had to do was talk to Ms. Templeton.
No, because you had changed for yourself to be the point of contact on that.
Well, that's true, I forgot about it.
So if that has happened,
They
find
did it
that out.
without me.
And then also, everything seemed to work beautifully with the voting last
Yeah.
month.
Well,
The sound was still not
Not great.
good. We couldn't get any more out of it than what it had,
Especially
and I
from
don't
your end.
understand.
I can't understand you guys.
And we
at all.
can't understand you guys either.
Is that right?
I think it needs to be stated in a meeting for people to speak into the top of the microphone, not across it, not at the side of it, not stand up with it bent down at your chest level and you're talking over it. It needs to be talk into the microphone. And I don't know whether I'll call a point of privilege on that and make that request for people, but I cannot hear certain people that do not project their voices.
Yes.
It might be better to go against our own rules and just sit down and talk instead of standing up, because I find myself trying to, I don't know, it's just a bad habit of leaning constantly because, you know.
Does anybody ever have trouble
just
understanding
sitting
me?
down? Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, sometimes.
I think sitting down personally is just, in my opinion, it may solve a lot of these problems.
But
I
that's-
don't have any problems when I hear, if someone's sitting down and talking, I don't have as much of a issue hearing them, because they're talking right into the mic, so.
It just feels disrespectful.
It does.
I get what you're
Same-
It
saying
is
there,
very
but
Same-
disrespectful.
Same to me, you should be
Kinda like
standing
walking out
for
in
the
middle of
public.
meeting on the phone.
I mean, I don't like that. If that is indeed the issue, to Commissioner Schmidt's point, then we need to elevate the mics, put a little stand under it.
I mean, to me, it's
And
not
we'll do it.
Build a
disrespectful.
little stand and boost it up,
It's more disrespectful to keep talking and assuming everyone can hear you rather than doing a service to the public and just sitting and speaking to the microphone. But that's my opinion, so.
Okay. What I will do is I will find those notes and call on that amplifier this week. I will talk to those people, and if they can't get that thing fixed, then I think.
they owe us a lot of money if they
They owe-
can't fix
yeah.
it, because that lamp.
Yeah, I mean, we've got between Jeremy's motion last term of $20,000. And that got spent. And on top of the over $100,000 that system cost to begin with. It's ridiculous. And it was put in 2018, I believe. 16 or 17, still not old enough to be working as badly as it is. So I will handle that this month.
Can we do a test of the system? Carolyn's got a potentiometer down by her knee, and I think it's on 9 right now.
Mhm.
I'd like to hear what it's like at 10 to see if we have feedback or not, because I've not ever heard feedback in that chamber since you and I went through there, and Chrissy went through there last year sometime and had all those levels set by the
We have
professionals.
had some feedback in, planning commission.
I know we have feedback when one microphone's pointed towards other microphones or towards the speakers. But I've never heard it because it was too loud or something like that. It's a directional thing when you point the mic at the speaker,
Mhm.
but, and that typically came from the, public microphone that faces out into the audience, not the one from the podium.
Yeah.
From the center podium. So I don't know what she's talking about, where the feedback may have come from, but can
In
we
the
test
planning commission?
taking it to 10, or can we ask whoever sits that device back there in the back room with the dial on it, with the red dots on it? Is there any way to
You know,
see if we can boost
get,
that?
I'll just get those guys back out like we did the first time. We're more experienced and wiser with that system now, and we'll just make them fix it right. I don't know exactly how to do that, but the new amp was supposed to fix a lot of things.
They could take levels and say, whatever it's set at now for regular meetings, we want 20% more.
Right.
whatever decibel level that is, or however you measure that, wattage, output, whatever.
Mhm.
Just tell them we want more, because it's hard to test it when you have 7 people in a room looking at it versus an audience of people.
That's true.
You can discuss all that with them and
Yeah.
then have them come out, right?
Right, okay. So I will take care of that.
Thank you.
So, I have now 6 lists that I'm compiling on the county building list of buildings, and I'm closing in on the end of it. So we can keep that on as old business as well, Mr. Sittler. The health department building demolition and new construction. I had a meeting with Hal Hendricks, Jamie Clary, and Merrill Hyde did not make the meeting. Jamie Clary has no property. He is interested in donating to the cause. So we're back to demolishing the building that's on the Merrill Hyde property. And I have to tell you, this reeks of an architect wanting to make big fees. It's just what I think is happening here.
So, something that was mentioned, but I don't think a lot of people caught last time, or we didn't discuss it a lot, was there's going to cost more to repair and bring it up to standards than it was to build new. But when we re-asked that question again, he said more per square foot to renovate versus rebuild. That's a significant difference in language.
Right?
Yeah, more per square foot is, you're not comparing apples to apples.
No, you're
and
not.
that kind of thing.
No, you're not.
You could be talking about tens of thousands of dollars versus millions when you talk more per square foot. So I would like to get a little more information on it.
I would like to meet with these architects now. We can either have them come to the next meeting, or a group of us can meet with them and grill them, because I gotta tell you, I'm just not buying it. I could be totally wrong. It may be cheaper to just get a rubber tire loader out there and put it in a trash bin, but it's never been my experience that made more sense than renovating what you have.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if you remember where we started this whole conversation was, at first, the health department was dilapidated, had termites, thanks to Commissioner Schmidt going through there and looking at ways you can stop that and making us think that the sky is not falling immediately. We started looking at renovation. We learned that it was totally able to be renovated, so that false narrative went away. And now it's cheaper per square foot to build new versus remodel. I would venture to say that that's probably the case with any construction, that it's cheaper to build new than it is to remodel when you're looking at big projects. And that you asked the question of, well, you talking about remodeling? You talking about adding on new construction onto another wing, or are you talking about, dressing up what's there? And that's just a loaded statement that you got to pick apart. And
Well,
I would like to investigate that further.
Okay, so what would the body like to do? Would we like to have them here? Would we like to have a separate meeting with the architects that have made the suggestion?
I would like to see what is being discussed as far as what kind of remodel are they talking about?
Well,
And
they're
what
talking
kind
about
of
demolition.
Huh?
They're talking about demolition.
No. When they're comparing the two,
Oh,
what kind of remodel were they looking at versus demolition and rebuild? Because I never saw the plans for what the remodel was going to be.
there were none. That was what the meeting that Ms. Norfleet had. Were you at that meeting, Mr. Mayor? You weren't. So Hal Hendricks, state health department people, and at least one architect, maybe an engineer with him. I don't remember who the group was, but seems to me I got the meeting minutes of it. So let me go back through those. I've read them once, but I'll go back through those and we'll get more descriptive, but if I meet with them, I would welcome anybody on this committee to join me.
And have we exhausted I know you said you met with Mayor Clary.
Mm-hmm.
Have we exhausted the efforts to try to,
Find another location?
right, because he may not be interested in that particular property or any particular property, but what did we offer up?
Well,
Just asking for a freebie is one thing, but making a deal or negotiating, releasing them of some of their debt to us, or the taking ownership of the responsibility of the library versus that. Did we offer some things up, or was it just a simple ask? Do you have property to give us?
because Merrill was going to lead the meeting,
Mhm.
and he wasn't there.
For understandable reasons.
Hal and I were a bit of a loss. Now, one thing I hadn't thought about is if we're needing to get rid of ARPA funds, would buying a piece of property with the ARPA funds,
I just don't think we need to go there yet.
well, I don't think we do either, but it is an option that I hadn't thought about.
I think we have a lot of things on the table with Hendersonville right now that we could explore, and need to have key people in place to do those conversations. And I'm not in a hurry to do this until those conversations can take place. I just think we could possibly do more with that.
Okay, so we have an ongoing negotiation with the library.
Right. We also have a lot of debt that's owed to us by Hendersonville.
Commissioner Mansfield, can you speak to anything regarding the library? Is there anything that we don't know about that transpired when you had your meeting?
No, in legislative, this last month, we were leaving it up to the county law director to present our options to their city attorney, and he'll be reporting next week in legislative.
Okay. What other things, Mr. Jones, are you thinking?
Well, I mean, this situation could be mentioned in that meeting, possibly, just for a creative solution to a lot of these things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I know Mr. Hyde is very concerned about the space for the Merrill Hyde School. That
He's going to
they're
expand the footprint,
cramped,
right?
and they would like to have that land back. On the other hand, it's a great place for it, right next to the hospital, so.
But, and we also brought the point, they could make a lot more revenue, tax revenue contributed to Hendersonville if they had more space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why Hendersonville should be wanting to help with this.
Yeah.
But he
Not
has
to
no
mention their
property, though,
constituents.
right? Did I hear you right? Mayor Clary has no property to offer us.
He has plenty of property, it's about whether he wants to offer it, and we've got to make that look enticing.
But what was his
to them.
What was his position? Was he saying, I don't have any property, or I'm not gonna offer you? I mean, if he doesn't, I mean.
He said we
it-
have no property to offer.
So to me, that pretty much winds down our options, and because we also have the state of Tennessee, which is offered to pay the difference over the ARPA funds for the demolition. So my concern is, if we kick the ball off that and we don't take that demolition, how much is the taxpayer is gonna be on the hook for if, say, the schools took it over and had to demo it?
Well, they wouldn't demo it, they'd turn it into a.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, we just, the schools may get in there and they may look at all the repairs and the punch list of repairs to do, and the remodel is just gonna get close to just demoing and starting over. And that's my concern down the road, if the schools
They'll
did
want
take
it,
it over.
they'll want it for a field house or something.
Well,
They
they'll
already
want
picked
it,
something.
but they'll, given the appetite for stuff in the past, they may say, well, they said the demo, we're gonna,
Yeah, we're speculating at this point.
Yeah.
Commissioner Mansfield.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, just based on this conversation over the past year and a half, I remember Commissioner Schmidt arguing for keeping the health department there, and I'm in agreement with him with that. I don't see why you wouldn't just proceed with either demolition or renovation, but I don't think it's very complicated. I think it's getting too complicated, unfortunately. But also remind you of our rules. Before you guys move forward on any of that, I mean, you need to have the statement of need, and estimated initial cost, alternate solutions, any associated contracts or agreements, or any other materials requested before this even goes anywhere out of this committee. So if you don't have that, then why are we discussing it? But you need to have that. So my recommendation is probably you need to have the architects come. If you have questions, come to this committee next month, that you ask them in a public forum so the citizens can see that. That's my opinion.
I will call them because I do have those meeting minutes from Ms. Norfleet. I'll maybe meet them at their office, have some sit-down discussion regarding why they feel that demolition is a better alternative. And I know that they're talking about increasing it by 50% from 4,000 to 6,000 square feet. You know, but as Hal told us that first meeting, if you build it, they will come.
Correct. It's not about what it, if he put it 20,000 square feet, they're just gonna, they fill it. I mean,
Right,
so it's-
right. So, okay, well, with the committee's approval, I will go ahead and get that, and if it makes sense to have them here for a presentation next month, I will get them to do
I
that.
think for transparency reasons, I'm sure.
Okay, then I will,
I really think they should.
okay, I will have them do a presentation.
Would you like to bring it up to old business, or are you gonna put it as new?
We'll put it as new. Okay, 9, new business. Discussion on electrical work, parking garage. This was, the mayor asked for me to put this on the agenda, and so, floor is yours, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, this is what we talked about out there. We need to make a decision. Are we gonna fight this charge? Or are we gonna pay it?
Did you get the proposal from Turner's electrician? They were gonna have that like a week ago.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten it in writing yet, but if I remember correctly, it's about $500,000.
Okay, we're gonna.
So I get that in writing.
Go ahead.
Can we open up with, what is this about?
Okay,
This is for public, for
I would
everybody to hear.
entertain a
I did not
motion to
read an email
discuss.
if it was there, but
Motion.
motion to discuss.
Second.
Okay.
Gotta go.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. I will go ahead. This got dropped on us a couple of weeks ago when we were having a meeting with Turner. The City of Gallatin Electrical Department. For those of you who don't know, we had to take a major power line underground from Franklin Street, probably several hundred feet. We had to put in conduit, put in a vault, and I believe there's a transformer there as well. And then send the line from that transformer up a power pole, a new power pole that we set, and it ran to another power pole that feeds all of the buildings that are on the east side of the square. And I believe there are 7 meters that were fed over there. Okay, so
Why did we have to do this?
we had to do it because we needed to put the crane there, and the crane would interfere, there would be electrocution. That was the only place we could position the crane. It was in a parking lot that we were given the use of, and so this crane was bringing in, and it was a necessary thing to do. But it cost us a small fortune to do that. Well, at some point, as Turner sheepishly, I believe, explained to us, the city came back and said, you need to run underground to each of those buildings now that are overhead before we'll allow you temp or permanent power on the parking structure. Correct me if I'm wrong anywhere, Mr. Mayor, because I don't want to be dishonest about this. And so I think Ms. Norfleet, the mayor, and I
Hang on.
were incensed.
Hold on. So it goes over to there, then it goes to a power pole and is feeding them off from the top,
Right.
and they want to continue the bottom.
They
feed
want us to get
all the
rid
buildings.
of all those top feeders.
Why?
All those what? Because they want it.
So it's not a need, it's a want.
It's not our property. It's got nothing to do with the parking structure.
Okay.
And I think we were both incensed when we realized, and so I told the mayor, this is a hill to die on, and he said, well, let's see what it costs first. And if the quote is $500,000.
I think we need to see that in writing before. we make a
I don't care if
decision.
it's $10. They got to prove that it is a need versus a want. Because if it's a want, they can do it if they want to, but we're not.
Yeah, and this is gonna get sticky legally, I think.
Why? Okay, so do they have a legal grounds to say it's necessary? Is it a new construction code type thing, or
No.
then why would it get legal?
Mr. Mayor, did you ever talk to anybody over at the electrical department?
We cannot find where we agreed to do it. They're saying that we agreed to do it. We've gone through the timelines. We've looked at everything and said, I don't feel we agreed to do this. They're saying we had a phase 1 and a phase 2. The phase 1 is what we did, had the change order in and did that. That's what you described first. Phase 2 was where they said we were gonna go in and clean up all of that and bury the rest of those. Kim and I have looked at it, we've talked with the judge, we've talked with Turner, we just do not see that. And so, I'm uncomfortable paying $500,000. Now, here's the problem with that, they won't power the building. So right now, to keep the project going, we're spending $15,000 a month in a generator to get the elevators put in and keep the project going. So that's just the facts of what we've got, and this body just needs to make a decision, what do we want to do? Is it the hill?
So we did rent a generator for the elevator guys to go ahead and
Yeah,
install
we
the
did not
elevator.
want to get back in line with the elevator guys, so the decision was made to do the generator so we could keep them on site.
Right, and they've got about a 2-month job to get that done, right? So we'll spend $30,000 on a generator
But then we'll be back with no power.
with no power, yeah. Commissioner Jones?
So who did we contract to do the underground work?
Phase 1? I don't know, I imagine it was Turner's Electric.
Yeah, it was Turner's company, and
The one they use, right?
Right.
Not Turner, but the one that they work
it's
with.
their subcontract.
It would stand to reason that they would be involved in phase 2 of the project that they're working on.
Yes.
And
Did
that's
they
who-
have any kind of contract or agreement or
No, they had no
hearsay,
numbers on it,
verbal,
which is
anything of a phase 2?
That's why, when we found out about this, Turner had already asked them to get a proposal, because they knew that would be the next thing we required.
They
And-
asked,
and
Turner
so
asked who to get?
They asked their electrical contractor to give us a price on what it would take to put all those feeds underground.
So they had some kind of
No,
knowledge of
no,
that happening?
they just did that in the last month.
So Turner didn't even know?
Turner
that
did
that
not
was
know.
So no parties that were involved in any of the work or the people paying for it knew anything about it except for Gallatin, the ones that won it?
And the Gallatin Electric has got no paperwork to legitimize any of this.
No, they have that one email that they sent that says phase 1, phase 2 that we never agreed to. And even with that one, the timeline just doesn't work out.
Okay,
So,
What's the date of that? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
Do that
I'd
email.
have to get all.
It's like 4 years ago, probably?
Oh, no, this was this past year.
Okay.
September, October.
Okay, well, I never saw
Yeah.
the phase 2.
So,
Yeah.
so I understand the need for moving the lines for the crane. Why anybody would agree to make something look nicer or different to
I'll
clean
take
that up
any
would
of
be
you out
silly.
there and show you what they want us to do, and it's ridiculous.
I think I understand they're gonna remove the poles and clean up the skyline or whatever, basically,
Yeah,
by doing that.
yeah. For a bunch of building owners, like myself, I mean, we own 108 Public Square. We just did this, I spent $10,000 or $15,000 to run my power underground and put in a new feed. And so, the fact that this would be $500,000 is preposterous to me, after doing it myself.
How much did it cost you?
It cost me, I think it was around 10. It was around 10,000.
And the proposal has already come back in to be half, or is it
Yeah,
just a?
that's the estimate that company's doing. You know, if we were to agree to do it, I would highly suggest that we get other bids.
Yeah.
Because it's my opinion that this company may be elevating that number, because they really want to get off the job.
It
So
seems
they said, if y'all willing to pay this, we'll stay on the job.
we're getting nickel and dime to death with this building. Like everybody's trying to squeeze every last cent out of
Yeah.
these projects right here at the last moment because they know they can.
Yeah.
That's just
And
that's wrong.
Well, so that's what's going on. And, you know, I took some pictures of it, and I can send those all to you. I don't know that they tell the story like just going out and looking at it does. And that's why I'm offering to any of you to take you out there.
All you gotta tell me is need versus want. I get it. I can
It's a
visualize what it
total-
is.
It's a total want as far as I'm concerned.
Easy answer for me.
And they're holding us hostage with giving us permanent
So
power.
what's our action item tonight?
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
These lines that are out there, do they look like any other external power line attachment to a building?
Yeah, they
Or
go.
do they look like they're not complete?
No,
Oh, no, yeah, they're operational.
they've been there for 100 years.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
so
operational.
we said we didn't agree to this. They say we did, and we've got to prove we didn't, is what I'm hearing.
It's an easy case.
We have no evidence that we did agree to it.
And then they're showing us an email for $500,000 contract.
That they sent to us
basically.
that we never responded to.
Right.
I mean, yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of any of this, so I want to make sure y'all understand I'm responding based on what I've heard right here, but this meets no contract, this meets nothing.
But
Yeah,
can
there
it
is-
tie
but
that
there
in
is no
court for
contract.
6
But
months trying to
basically
figure it
being
out?
fleeced.
Right.
And I'll be straight up with you though, this is gonna be a pocketbook over principal matter. How much you willing to spend to be right at the end of the day, because there's not gonna be any recovery attorney's fees or anything of that nature. And the other thing is they're gonna hold power over our heads, then we're gonna have to file for an immediate, injunction of some type, forcing them to put the power to the building, as this case progresses through the courts, if it does end up being that, but no one's told me anything to say we owe them a dime or
Well,
have to do any work.
Yeah, in all fairness, we really had not gotten to that point. That's what this meeting was for. This is where we're opening this up
What
for
would our
discussion, and where do
decision,
we go from there?
what would our decision tonight advance towards conversations with Gallatin?
Well,
What would it matter?
let me ask the lawyer another question. This is not on our property. We have no right to tamper with those people's meters or their weatherheads or dig up, trenches up to their building and run
Shut their
conduit.
power off for a period of time.
Yeah, we have no right
Now,
or
I don't know,
responsibility.
I'd have to research, that. It's been a long time since I've delved into utility property law, but I will say this, I've got a power pole right in the middle of my yard that feeds a barn out in the back,
Mhm.
and they can drive up there and do whatever they want to that pole and transformer. I don't have to give them permission to do anything, they can go right out there and do it, because they've got, access to that's their property, the meter's their property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
So
not our
I'm not
property.
saying that they're not trying to extend their easement onto us to say, all right, go out there and make this look pretty. You promised you would.
Mr. Sittler, to his point though, they're asking us to say, go do it, and that is not our call.
No, that's what I was finishing up with. is that
Okay,
They're trying to
okay.
say, look, this is our stuff. We
They
want you
can
to
do
make
it.
it pretty.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah, based on what I've
Okay.
heard, y'all,
Yeah.
there's no county obligation here.
No.
If they've got power, we move the stuff, put it underground to accommodate this crane. Everybody else now has power, and it's power as if anybody else would have gotten it in that area, then we're done.
Well, it would seem like the thing that needs to happen is our attorney needs to send them a letter saying, you're depriving us of temporary and permanent power for no reason. And there's no agreement, no commitment, no contract. And we demand that you not only give us temporary power so we can get rid of the $15,000 a month generator, but then commit to giving us permanent power when we get a C of O.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Are you
Are we
stating that
able
as
to
a
get
motion?
power now? They're just not giving it
State that
to
as a
us?
motion.
Not giving it to us,
Yeah, if you can just give me just a brief
I'll get
summary
you
of the fact pattern, then I'll shoot them over something. I know Susan, so.
I get
Do we have to vote on that?
Wednesday.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, so I will make a motion
I'll second it.
to instruct the county attorney to send a legal letter
Can of gas.
regarding the withholding of electricity to the parking structure, both temporary and permanent. And we have a second with Commissioner Jones. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
third.
Aye.
Not third. She second, not
Assuming
third.
nobody's opposed.
We stood out in the parking lot.
Got it on the line.